Wagwan shorties and mans, today we're back with another review today, and we're reviewing the Acura MDX Type S. The MDX Type S has 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque from a 3-liter direct injection turbo V6, which is pretty awesome. It better get the car lifting. Now, over to the aesthetic of the car. At the front of the car, you have a big grille. It looks pretty decent. It's made out of plastic, piano black, and then you have a big Acura logo, because everyone needs to know that you're driving the Acura of the town. Above that, you have a front-facing camera, which is for the safety features in the car. And moving on, you have a nice Type S badge here to tell everyone that you're not just driving any Acura, you're driving the Type S. Moving on, like any new car should have, you have laser headlights, which are automatic. So when you're driving in pitch black, it goes to high beam by itself. When a car approaches, it gets back to normal beam. So you have nothing to worry about. And as you move back alongside the car, you got some nice big wheels, which have Brembo braking all around the car, which is really awesome. As you move back, you get another Type S badge, a nice big black rear view mirror cap. You move on, you have a nice indent in the frame of the car with some nice piano black. Piano black is never nice, but it's going with the black and white here. You keep moving back, and then you are greeted by the money taker of this car, which is the gas area of the car, which is also capless. It takes 70 liters and can go about 550 kilometers on average on one fill up. And city driving, highway driving, you can expect to be between 11 liters to 14 liters per 100 kilometers. You can expect to fill up this car at $105 at $1.50 per liter, which you gotta have money to, be pulling out that dough. Maybe the Honda Civic might be for you. And then as you move to the back, another Type S badge, because you want the world to know that you're driving a Type S made by Acura, which is pretty awesome. You get quad exhaust, which unfortunately they don't make too much noise. I guess you got to get it modified, but if you're a soccer mom and you're just going to soccer practice, then it's whatever, right? You get 1, 2, 3, and 4 sensors. So as you're reversing back into a parking spot and you're about to rear end someone's rear end with your rear end, the car will beep at you and say, "Hey man, you don't want to rear end someone." Hey guys! Now we're in the trunk right now of this nice Acura. It has 16.3 cubic feet of space when the seats are folded up, the third row of course. And when the third row is folded down, you get 39.5 square feet. Now I'll fact check that and add it somewhere here. But it's pretty spacious back here. Nothing to complain about. You do have your battery back here to your left, and nothing to complain about. If I were a third row passenger, it would kind of suck. But let's see how that is. And to close the trunk, all you got to do is hit this button up here. Where is it? Right there. And the trunk automatically closes, and you're stuck here forever until someone saves you. Now heading to the back of the car, which is the bread and butter for most people, aka your kids. All you got to do is to get into the third row, hit this button down here. You hit that button, door opens up. And the third row is always small, so let's see if I can get in without issue. All you got to do is it's pretty tight to get in. If you have back problems, this would not be ideal for you. You sit down, it is pretty tight back here. You pull this back. Oh, I think you can. No, you can't. So you pull this back, and I am stuck behind myself. If I were to put this up, the center console, I would be screwed. So coming back here, this is not an ideal area to be, especially if you're 5'10" or anything taller. I think you gotta be 5'5" maybe, because this leg space is not enough. Imagine you're on a long trip, you definitely would not have enough space. But it's a cozy back, you got small windows, you don't need to see outside. I would assume you're a toddler if you're sitting back here. And you got a nice button to open up the seat to push it forward automatically if you wanted to jump out. The chair just pushes open. Now moving on to the back seat. It's pretty spacious back here, unlike your companions in the third row. Not much you can do up here. You can move it back and forth, the seat, with this lever right here, which is pretty awesome because you do get tired of sitting in one position for this whole ride. To your left, you have a nice red leather interior, a sporty look plastic material, and some peasant blockers like Straight Pipes would say. Another YouTube channel you should check out for car reviews. It protects you from the sun, or broke keys that can't afford a $90,000 car. You can push this out and it goes back down. You have a nice cup holder. I wouldn't recommend you putting coffee in there, and you have some storage which is about the size of my fist. You close the door closes nicely, and you're basically greeted by a nice panoramic sunroof. So as you're trying to fall asleep while camping, you can just look up and then knock out, which is pretty awesome. You got some lights up here, a nice speaker, and nice speaker down here, and you got a bunch of speakers in this car, so you're never missing out on any bass or treble or anything like that. Now continuing on from the back, this car can be a 7-seater, it can be a 5-seater, or it can be a 4-seater by pushing this down and having a nice armrest. This armrest is made out of leather, and it has 2 cup holders and some storage. If you bring your fingers down, you have rear climate control where you can set the temperature, you can set your fan speed, you can turn on the fan, you can turn off the fan, or you can make it auto. And another perk of this car is when you're an executive being chauffeured around, you can also play around with heated seats in the back, which is pretty awesome. Not a lot of cars have that. You also get 2 USB Type A's. Underneath that, you also have a 12-volt power outlet, which is pretty awesome. So if you need multiple phones to recharge, you can do that. Now before we move on to the infotainment and all the good stuff in the front, let's talk about the seats. This is a sports branded car. So you get half leather and you get half Alcantara type fabric, which is so nice to touch. I like touching this. Now moving on to the front of the car, you have a nice electronic dashboard, which is pretty awesome. You move down, you have your nice Acura logo with a horn. To your left, you have your infotainment controls, such as your power for your radio, your heated steering wheel control, your volume knob, your voice connect system. Call Susan.
I didn't understand.
Well,
what can I help you with?
She doesn't understand what I'm saying. You go back from one menu to the other end menu, and then you can go through your apps. And then you can just flick through your options by hitting the scroll wheel, which is pretty awesome. You go down here, you have other similar features that are found on the Honda Civic, such as your adaptive steering control, your distance from the next vehicle control, and then your cruise control, which is also adaptive, and the cancel button for your cruise control. This knob here controls what is being shown on the right side of your gauge cluster. You got 2 paddle shifters, one for plus, one for minus. You have your automatic headlights here, and you can dipper if you want to. To your right, you have your controls for your automatic wipers and the front wiper and the rear wiper control. And as you move to the center, you have your infotainment. Your infotainment, unfortunately, is not touch. But what is awesome is you do get wireless CarPlay. Now what does suck is, since it's not touch, and if it were touch, you would have to reach all the way out, you can always use your center console to shift around your infotainment by using this nice trackpad, so it feels like you're using a mouse to go around. A nice volume knob to your right, a nice track control underneath that, and then similar navigation menus. You move down a bit, you have your climate control, your drive mode control. Moving down, you have your on off, you have your brake hold, you have more charging outlets. You move down, you have your gear selectors, park, reverse, neutral, and drive and sport. You move down a bit more, your gauge, your trackpad. You move down a bit more, a nice handle to grab on while you're in sport mode, and some nice wireless charging. 2 cup holders and a nice change collector. To the center, you have a nice leather center armrest, which you can lift up to open. And you have some more space down here. You have another charging outlet, and you have a 12-volt charger again. You can also expose some hidden storage by pushing this in and opening this up. You get some more storage down here, which is not a lot, but it's pretty decent and nice. To your left, you have more piano black and 3 preset options for your seats. So if you have 3 drivers, you can basically set the car to 1 driver's position. I accidentally hit the button, so I kind of regret hitting that button. I don't know whose seat setting I am in. You have some more plastic here, which feels like aluminum and looks like aluminum, more leather, and some nice window controls, and your basic controls for other features in the car. Over here, you also get other controls like traction control, blind spot monitoring, automatic windshield washers, and safety support. So while you're driving, if you're about to get into a crash, the car can save you. Your parking brake down here, and your brightness for the car. All right, before we start driving, we can change different modes in this car, which is pretty awesome. And since this car has air suspension, depending on the mode, it'll either lift your car up or make it go down. So if we go into sport mode, the car will go down. If we make it go into comfort mode or normal mode, the car will go back up. You put it into snow mode, the car will stay the same, but it'll adapt its suspension to be good for the snow. Or you can lift it up, so if you're doing off-roading, the car is going to lift itself up by a lot, so you don't hit any rocks. Or if you do, it doesn't damage your car. All right, we kind of overran our time for this car, and it's kind of dark now, so you got to bear with us. So now we're going to drive the MDX Type S. I put her to Sport Plus mode, and the car basically shifted down, and we're going to give it a shot. Woo! Man, this car pushes you back. You push it down to the pedal, the car pushes you back, it rips. It may not be the fastest car out there, but the energy, the power this car gives you, it's really awesome and terrific. Like, you know you're driving something with over 180 horsepower. The car just pushes you back when you're trying to floor it. When you do it with the paddle shifters make the car move way harder, pushes. I'm running out of words. This is really exciting to drive. Once you use the paddle shifters, you're in more control of the car. You can redline the car, and if you have a specialized spoiler exhaust in this, you'll hear the pops and crackles. It's really fun to drive. You would not expect this from an Acura, especially an Acura this size and of this type. So again, we're gonna go into first gear and we're gonna see how this car drives. All the way down. Whoa! 0 to 60 kilometers, of course. 60 kilometers. Within a couple of seconds. I would say, I'm just eyeballing this, maybe 2 seconds, which is really awesome. Like, you would not expect this car to do that. So now we're gonna stop this. We're gonna take it out of manual mode by putting it to neutral. I didn't do the research on how to, get it back. And we're gonna change the drive mode to sport only. So I'm expecting sport mode should also deliver the same thrust. Push it down, you feel it. It's really fast. It gets going. If you're driving 0 to 100 you just want to keep flooring this back to back to back. You just want to hit the gas pedal, feel the acceleration, let the car push you back, and just let go and repeat that. And let me tell you, that's a bad habit to have, because the more you do that, the more gas you take. So it's really fun to drive. You feel like an executive while driving this. You have a sport view, you have a tight steering, and the car is it's decent. It's a good sports car. Now we're gonna put it into comfort mode, and then we'll see how the car performs in comfort. So driving the car in comfort mode and normal, the car really softens up. You push down the accelerator, it's not gonna push you back in your seat. The car feels really nice and drives like a luxury car, like you'd expect, because an Acura is the luxury version of Toyota. Is it Toyota or Honda? I think it's Honda. I can't remember. I'll link it in the bio. While going over bumps in comfort mode, you don't feel them that much. It's really comfy. It feels like you're driving on a cloud. You do feel the bumps here and there, and if you do push your foot too hard on the accelerator, the car will push you back as expected. But it's a really decent car to drive, and it's comfy, right? I would say this car should be driven more in sport mode, because you got this car to be driven in sport. Changing to drive mode to snow, we can't really test that out. Lifted mode, you feel the car move up a bit, and now it feels like you're a bit higher. You feel like a truck driver, and you feel like if you were to ram into someone, you'd get away with it. So overall, the drive experience is pretty fun on this car. I'm liking it. Sport mode is much more better. That's my opinion, right? Comfort mode, it's like whatever, right? It's meh. In terms of everything else, the car is nicely built. If you're spending $90,000 Canadian on this car, it's what you would expect it to be. You have leather everywhere, you have the latest features, and you have a nice sporty engine, and it's comfy. What else do you need? So would I recommend you get this car? $80,000. It's really expensive. If you're into Acura and you like the brand Acura, then yeah, get the car. But for $85,000 is what the MSRP is. What dealers are selling the car for is well over $85,000. You could probably get a better car. You can even get by spending $10,000 to $20,000 more, you could even get a better version BMW, or a couple $1,000s more, get a Porsche. Or in the same price range, or a bit less, you can get a nice, let's say, Discovery, Land Rover Discovery. So that's all I gotta say. So what do I give this car out of 10? I really enjoyed the sport mode. I gotta say 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. So subscribe for more content, and let me know how I did by commenting below.